Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 221st edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one shill, Jaden.
Howdy.
Howdy. And
Maybe don't use that next week though. Just
mate, what do you want? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Do you just not want a Disney-related nickname?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that. That's what he wants.
I don't know if I can comply. You know.
One thing
Sorry.
I asked, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I am a pretty hard-ass boss around here for sure. And we've of course got the very literal JC, Jesus Christ here today, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
So yeah, I appreciate that, but I don't like it at the same time, like calling it the second coming, because it means it's like the end of the world, you know. And you're like celebrating the end of the world in the Snapchat.
Yeah.
It's just odd. But yeah, hi.
It's significant nonetheless. You know?
Yeah, but you shouldn't really celebrate it, you know. I mean, some people celebrate it because they're like going to heaven, but I don't know.
Yeah, true. Well, I mean, Spooky's going to be thrilled. I think Jaden and I are thrilled. And but like, to what extent did you make the effort because it's Twilight? Like, you needed to get the Twilight thoughts in, and then you're just going to dip.
No, Jane did convince me that I have to come because it's Twilight. Not that I've been. Not that I haven't had other stuff to do in the other weeks. But yeah. If I did watch this, I'd have to watch 2 Twilights next time, you know. So
yeah. That's pretty excruciating for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. So go ahead, subscribe, do it. This week, the movie we're reviewing is The Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn Part 1, which opened in the US on November 18th, 2011. It was directed by Bill Condon. It is a fantasy romance drama thing, and the synopsis says, I watched the whole movie, I don't know what this means. The Quilituce close in on expecting parents Edward and Bella, whose unborn child poses a threat to the wolf pack and the townspeople of Forks. What?
The Quilla things is the traditional name for the werewolves.
Oh, okay. So the werewolves close in on... okay, got it. Have they ever said that in these movies?
Yeah, when they're explaining the history of the wolves, for sure.
Oh, okay, all right. So wait, so is that a Native American word?
I don't know, Matt. I'd be careful, though.
Yeah, fair. I'll just cut the whole thing. All right. Very good. Jaden, Breaking Dawn, Part 1. What'd you think? Did you watch this at 2 a.m. last night?
Yep. I was actually pretty okay with it, considering how done I was with the last one. Like, I don't know, everything that was presented was palatable enough to me, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it'd get really graining. There's still something that I really don't like, which you can take a guess at what it is.
I'm with you this time.
But like, yeah, like I think it was. I don't know. I just think it was actually quite well paced for part 1. I thought it might drag a bit because I wasn't really familiar with the story, but like also being unfamiliar with it maybe is why it was okay with me. You know, I think we spent ample time, you know, with the slice of life stuff, and then with, you know, the kind of vampire werewolf stuff. And I think that the tension surrounding like Bella's pregnancy, I thought was actually quite good. Like the whole will they or won't they, and is it good, is it bad, you know, all this shit. And like I thought that was actually quite strong. I mean, strong. You know, I thought it was decent. But then there was some other terrible stuff with the werewolves, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It ended up way more palatable than I was expecting. I'll just say that.
Does the fact it's the shortest help?
Is it the shortest?
Credits hit at an hour 40 on this one.
Oh, mad.
Yeah. That helped me. Jaden, would you be able to move your mic for me? Thank you. I only just realised. Thank you very much. God bless you. Okay, I think it sounds like I'm maybe a bit lower than you. It wasn't really bad. It had a few moments that made me laugh in a good way, and I don't know, like the story just went in a direction that I don't think I liked very much. I'll say that. There's some weird stuff that happens, and it just overall lacked any real drama of either Eclipse had some good drama, compelling or corny, but it's drama nonetheless, and this sort of lacked it for me. The plot felt pretty one note, and as a result, I was getting bored at some points. But yeah, it still does have some of the long running elements to appreciate that the series has always had thrown in there, sprinkled in as well. So those are still good and fun. But yeah, overall, I wasn't a big fan of the story of this one. It was kind of lacking for me. Fitzy, what about you?
Yeah, I think I sound like I'm more on your side, more in your direction, Zach. It's definitely like the series definitely wearing at this point. I guess they're gonna do this for the second one, where they kind of continue with the scale they have with the Volturi and that. But this like segmenting it, so it's like the first part is like domestic drama, and the second one is like the big vampire war thing. Is kind of weird to me. But yeah, I don't know. I felt it was just a little odd. Like I wasn't expecting direction from like in terms of just having the baby, and I don't know. I think there was a slight decline in the writing. It felt a little what do you call it? Like I don't know. The motivation for the werewolves kind of felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
It was a little rushed, I guess, or just not set up as well in this as the other ones were. And I don't know, I noticed some like bad CGI as well, which there's definitely been throughout the series, but it just felt more obvious in this one. But yeah, I'm pretty. I don't know. Yeah, I was pretty done with this, to be honest. I texted Luke. I like spam Luke's Discord so he'd get in a call with me because I was kind of bored in the first 20 minutes. But yeah. It sounds like I'm kind of at where Jaden was for the last one, I guess, where I'm just kind of,
Okay.
I'm ready for the series to be done at this point.
Yeah, that's a good point about the Volturi actually, because I totally, what's his face? Michael Sheen was there for a hot minute, like in the first credits, 5 minutes. Yeah.
And did you watch the end credits, by the way? Just in case you missed it.
Yeah, what? No.
The post-credit scene?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, yeah.
Oh, tell me.
We see the Volturi at the between the credits of them getting a little message from the main Cullen. What's his name?
Carlisle.
Carlisle, yeah, just about like adding Bella to the Coven and like and stuff like that. And then he's all like, his mates are like, oh, so we don't need to go to war. And he's like, no, we do need to go to war. And he's like, why? Because they have something I want.
Oh, the kid?
I mean, Edward, Bella, and Alice, but now, yeah, also maybe the kid when he finds out about it.
Mm.
Right. Oh, yeah, because he's always wanted them. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So wait, so that was a mid-credit scene? Not like you didn't wait right to the end?
No, I was about to click off it, but I skipped through. I was skipping through it just in case.
Check.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually hung around in that like black, red, white credit thing. I actually hung around there for a minute. Like I didn't click off right away. So like I'm.
You must have just missed it, honestly, because I don't think it was even that far in. Yeah.
I honestly think I did. I felt like I was there for a little bit. So I must have just missed it. That's a shame. Anyway. Okay, because I've totally forgot about the Volturi, but I guess it's good that we have the confirmation that part 2 they're gonna spring up and go to war apparently. But here's the thing: this franchise has done nothing to set up any kind of like expectation around how exciting this war is going to be, visually, scale wise, anything. Where it's just like, dude, the biggest like conflicts this franchise has had is that it was probably that scene in this one where they're like fighting in the front yard of the Cullens' house, and there's just a bunch of
the one with the newborn army in Eclipse.
Oh yeah, no, that was a bit bigger. Yeah. But even that, it's like, okay, so what? Like, is that the standard for like combat in these movies for like a conflict? Like, it's fine, But like, I don't know. I just got. I can't say I'm excited to see whatever this war's going to be because I feel like it's just going to be a bunch of vampires like throwing each other into trees for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? I don't know how exciting it's really going to end up being. In terms of us being done or not done or looking forward to part 2 and stuff, I know we will have to wait till we see part 2 to get a more complete sense of this, but I do just want a gut check right now on how we feel so far about the decision to split the film into 2 parts for a yay or a nay. How did this film feel incomplete? The decision to end it where they did, all that kind of thing. If we have any thoughts on that.
No, like I said in my opening, like I thought, it being split was fine. I quite like leaving it with Bella on the edge and then with the eyes open. Like it's typical, but like
yeah,
I think it was kind of exciting. And I do know, how I kept on knowing about the Watch Mojo list that spoiled it for me. Like I know what's coming in part 2, so like I'm happy with how they've split it, kind of because I it's unfortunate. Like I know what I know, and I know what's coming, so I think it's fine having split it.
But does it feel, knowing without telling us, like, is it something where it feels quite different to what this movie did?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
And is it cool? Like, is it like, oh yeah, neat? Like, I wish I didn't know that, or is it like, oh yeah, okay, yeah? I was kind of, I don't know. I can't really tell yet because the ending with Bella opening her eyes is kind of, it's typical, like you said. If that actually does happen around halfway through the book, then I can understand why they would think that's a logical point to do that. But I just think so far the story of this movie, we'll get into it. I didn't really love it, so it feels like it hasn't really justified the part 2 thing. But if part 2 ends up being a pretty standalone, different feeling story to this one, then I would appreciate that because the whole, like you've already said, Fizzy, like the wolf's motivation was kind of weird in this one. So I don't want that to carry over as much.
Yeah, like I feel like the book just must have 2 stories there. Like, I guess it makes sense to split it this way if the book is like this, because it just feels like, you have this wolf conflict and the kind of the baby thing, and then you have the Volturi thing, which is coming afterwards. So, I mean, if the book is like this, it makes sense, I guess. It's just odd that it's like 1 book and not 2, so.
Yeah, exactly. Jaden, you said you kind of dug the pregnancy stuff.
Yeah, I did. I'm not gonna lie, I did. I think the tension you created around killing Bella was quite strong.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize how much of the, because like I was kind of expecting that to the honeymoon was like a third. I was kind of expecting the pregnancy to be another third, and then to be a final conflict in the third. But like the pregnancy did take up the rest of the film after that, which I guess was only an hour given the runtime.
Yeah, 100%. And then I think before that, like the honeymoon felt like there was no story there. Like it was
but
So it felt like it sort of felt like the only thing the movie had was the pregnancy conflict. Really.
Yeah. But I really liked like Jacob coming back into it and being a part ally. And, I kind of like the discussions that had to be had around saving Bella, saving the baby, and all that shit. I think, like I think it did breed some weird stuff with the wolves, but like I don't think it was that bad. I think there was a really bad scene in it, but I don't think there was really anything that bad in terms of like why the wolves are unhappy now.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird more than anything, but sorry, Fitzy.
I just think it wasn't like set up really, like especially the transition, especially like just the scene where Jacob goes back and he's kind of confronted by other wolves, and you're like, I don't know, the conflict just came out of nowhere at that point.
I agree,
but like I guess it makes enough sense that they're scared that there's going to be like a monster baby or something that's going to kill everything, but it's just like, I mean, it doesn't make that much sense, but if they set it up, it would have been okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. It felt a bit contrived to me a little bit. But what was the one scene, Jaden, that you thought was particularly bad?
The one where they're using their human voices in the wolf form.
Oh, that was yes.
And Jacob declares that and he makes Sam cower before him, and he goes off to be a sick wolf.
Yeah,
that's the same scene. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's where the whole thing comes from, just from that one scene, and you're kind of like, yeah. I don't think
the motivation itself isn't that bad. Of like Jacob, like I don't think Jacob turning on the wolf pack came from nowhere. I think he was obviously aware that. I mean, so obviously he imprinted on Bella, so like he knew that nothing bad could happen to her or whatever. So like,
did he imprint on Bella?
He didn't imprint on Bella.
Wasn't he already imprinted on her?
No, because that was the thing they were talking about. He should imprint on someone, and then he imprints on the daughter.
I thought he did imprint on her last movie.
No.
What do you mean?
He has not imprinted on anyone. They do say that in this movie. That's sort of...
No, they think he hasn't done it, but they don't know.
No, at the start of the film, he's like, they're on the beach, and he says like, he says something to the effect of like, if I could just imprint on someone else, then I would like forget about this stuff with Bella.
Yeah, so but that's because he's already imprinted on Bella.
I don't think can you change who you imprint on?
I don't know.
I don't think he can.
No, he hasn't imprinted on anyone.
But I thought because I know it was never said, but I just thought that was the implication of the last movie that he did, like through their time spent together, and he thought that he actually did love her, and that's why he was so intense on her.
No, that's why he was weird in the last movie.
Yeah, but I thought it was weird because he already imprinted.
No, that makes it weirder that he felt he was acted that way and he hadn't. He has not imprinted.
Yeah,
until this movie, he hasn't. Yeah, no, that scene. I specifically totally agree the choice, but yeah, I didn't like the. To me, the whole. Why do the wolves care that this baby's being born? Really, like who?
It breaks the treaty, and like you know that the relation is already like tense on its own.
So why does it break the treaty?
I don't know why it does. It just does.
Yeah, it's stupid. That's stupid. And it just came out of nowhere. Like if they'd set up previously that like something to do with the wolves have a specific problem. It's part of their legends that they pass down or whatever. That like a vampire child will come one day and be terrible. Like okay, sure, maybe, but like they did not set that up. It just sort of happened. I'm like, wait, why you guys got beef with this?
That would be very easy to set up there as well. Like you'd like as a kind of folklore, like myth, that would be very easy to just implant in any of the other films. So like the start of this film.
Yeah, even 100%. Just the start of this one would have been fine.
But it wouldn't make sense because as a folklore thing, because the vampires only came in, a couple hundred years ago.
But they already have folklore about the vampires.
Yeah, but based on like real history, like there's not really time to prophesize about a doomsaying vampire,
I don't know.
And like I think the fact that they're worried that it's a monster baby that's growing at an unnatural rate, that they won't be able to control the bloodlust. Like that's the only reason they allow the Cullens is because they don't kill people. They don't like any other vampires because they kill people. So they're just like they're worried about the baby that is supernatural and massive and sucking the life out of Bella is going to be an uncontrollable thing. Like that's not. I don't think it's.
But
it's
everything.
Stupid, and I don't really want to defend it too much, but like I don't think it's that unreasonable.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Like I think it's within the bounds of what we know.
The bounds of acceptable for this series.
But like everything about the treaty is kind of based on like folklore and like ancient beasts and all that shit. I mean the baby comes up in the books that Edward's like reading, so it's literally in the myth.
Vampire mythology, not werewolf mythology.
But they know each other's fucking mythology. They're familiar with each other's. Like Edward was familiar with the fact that if you imprint on someone, it's like the most sacred rule. Yeah.
No, I feel like that was just him reading Jacob's mind at that point where Jacob is telling the other wolves that I've imprinted on her, so you know that you can't break our sacred rule.
I feel like they know. I don't know.
And even if they do know, like that's because the vampires have taken an interest in the werewolves, not the other way around. That's because they are immortal beings that are aware of the werewolves that they have to engage with.
Okay, maybe.
I like how in universe we're getting now. We're getting like
into
the lore. The debate.
True fans at this point.
No, Jan, I totally agree with you. Like, I assume part of it for you was the choice to have them like talk to each other telepathically as their wolves, and have that VO going.
Well, I think it's just like a translation for their barking. I think it's telepathically, is it?
Yeah, no. I assume that too, but it was just an odd choice for me. It didn't really kind of play.
And like it was so terrible as well. Like they've like they're not voice actors, you know, and that's the issue. So like obviously when you take away their body, like they all just struggle, man. Like I don't want to point him out again. But Taylor's delivery of his final line to Sam before he fucks off is just horrid, man.
He didn't blow me away in this movie. I'll put it that way. I agree with that. Does it help that if you like imagine, like in that that screenshot that Spooky put in the Discord, like if they're all standing there in their grey suits doing the scene?
Hold on, wait. Let me.
That was from
take a squeeze at that.
That was from like the second one or something, I think.
Yeah, I know, but it's like they keep that same method where they're always just standing there like that.
Yeah.
Let's get another check-in on the Edward Jacob dynamic, how we feel about these guys. I'll just open by saying that my digging deep further into Team Edward and thinking Jacob is a loser has just only further happened as a result of this movie. And I don't know, Jacob, way too little too late with him coming on side now, to be honest with you. I'm not into it.
No, I'm completely Edward at this point as well. I think this has all kind of proven how good Edward is for her. Like I think the honeymoon stuff and that really sold it home. I don't really think there is a Team Jacob anymore. I think it's rather definitively Edward, but like, for the sake for the sake of the hype of like, the story, I think they keep it going with this openness.
Yeah, no, that's true. But like, I mean, how do you feel about Jacob like at the end of the movie as a character in terms of like not in terms of Bella's choice? I think Bella's made a choice, but in terms of like just does he still infuriate you? Oh, I don't know. Well, he infuriated me. Sorry, I'm projecting onto you. Yeah. I was not a fan.
No. I thought I think he played everything rather smartly in this film. Smartly given what's presented. But like his whole baiting of like the wolves and so the Cullens could eat, and then like the protection and the back and forth, and then his ultimate realization that like he's fine with the child kind of or whatever, like like because he was going to kill
he's
it.
More than fine with the child.
He was going to kill it, and then he like I think it was overall. I think the story for Jacob was rather like neat, at the end of the day.
Yeah, he had an arc in this, which I liked.
Yeah.
I appreciate that aspect. But he's just still such a tosser, Dude, I can't. Like, Edward, okay, at the start of this movie, Edward goes out of his way to, like, set up this little meet and greet with Bella at the wedding with Jacob. That's a pretty class act right there, if I do say so myself. And then Jacob turns up and ruins it because he can't help himself. He's a dick. And then, like, an hour later in the movie, he just barges into the Cullens' house, like, demanding answers. Like, what an asshole. You know what I mean? Like, this shit's none of his business.
But Jacob was right at that wedding scene, where he's like, you shouldn't do this, something bad's going to happen. And then, the whole thing with the baby happened where she almost died. So I feel like he was pretty sensible throughout.
And the reason he barged into the Cullens' house is because he imprinted on it.
No.
And so he had to protect her in the Cullens' house.
No.
Hang on. Fiction is stuff.
I'm going to search.
I'm
going to search up when did he.
Well, you might get, hopefully you don't get spoilers
at the end of this film.
On Renesmee or whatever the fuck.
Renesmee.
Hang on, but at the start of the movie, when he has the meet and greet, is he not still? Is his angle still not to get Bella to turn? Isn't that what he's saying, or is he? Well, what's his argument? What's his argument?
His argument is that. So, his argument
he doesn't fucking imprint on Bella. He imprints on Renesmee.
Yeah, we know. It's what we're saying.
I didn't realize that, dude. What? He imprints on a baby.
Yeah,
dude, that's what fucking happened at the end of the movie.
I thought that's what you were discussing about.
No, oh, dude.
When he has, so he's going to kill.
No, like it makes sense. The whole like I just like he was just imagining growing up with his and like having like a niece kind of relationship. But he
imprinted on her. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Hey, hang on. We're going to get to this 100%. Fitzy, I want to hear your point on this, though.
Sorry.
Oh, So Jacob was just saying. So Bella was like, "Oh, our honeymoon's going to be as good as anyone else's," and Jacob was like, "No, you can't do that, because bad shit's going to happen."
Oh, so he specifically he didn't want them to pork. That was his point.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, but did he have any actual? But this just sounds like it comes from jealousy, though. Like, does he have any actual insight into oh, this could be dangerous for you because?
But it was dangerous at the end.
It was just
baseless. Like he was right, but totally baselessly though.
Maybe.
I don't think it was baseless. I think it was just him being worried that Edward wouldn't be able to control himself, being that intimate with Bella.
Oh, like he was going to eat her.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, sure, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like at this, maybe, because that is sort of a new step. But nonetheless, he comes across as just controlling's the right word. I'll put it that way. But yeah, no, that is possible. Anyway, we of course cannot skip the goddamn baby being imprinted. Which so wait, Shane, explain what you thought happened here, because it's probably better than what actually happened.
So I didn't realize that for him to imprint, we'd get like a physical kind of representation of it. I just thought it was something that will happen subtly, and then it just gets revealed. I didn't realize that whole vision. I just thought he was just like looking at the baby. He was like, oh, I can have like a pretty decent niece type thing here. I just thought that was it. Man.
But he was going to kill her. So
but then I just thought, you look at a newborn baby, and you wouldn't kill Hitler as a baby because it's a baby. I just thought like one of those things.
Right.
Like I didn't realize that he's fucking imprinting on it, and like that's that's weird.
Dude, is this not really disturbing? Like, this just makes me think. So, it just sent me on this train of thought. When Renesmee, which I really hate that I have to. I really Renesmee. But the names, isn't it Renee and fucking? Wait, what is it? What are the names combined again? Yeah. So that's why I'm saying it like that. Yeah. Renesmee. It's such a fucking terrible name.
Yeah, I saw people taking the piss out of this name like all over the internet. Back in the early days, but I never knew. I just thought people were taking the piss out of it. I didn't realize it was from this. I was like,
it's so fucking bad. And like, at least, I wonder did Stephanie Meyer write it like straight, and then like when time came to make the movie, they thought this is so bad. Like the actors have to ignore it. Like the characters sort of had a bit of a giggle about it.
Maybe.
And by the way, that other suggested baby name of EJ was so cringe, dude. Oh, Edward Jacob.
If I was Edward, I'd kill myself in that situation.
I agree. It was the cringiest shit. It made me laugh out loud so hard. Okay, anyway, Jacob imprinting on this baby. So, what does that mean? That the second that Renesmee becomes of age, like she's is it betrothed to Jacob?
No, because she has no obligation. It's only the wolf's obligation to kind of to acknowledge this kind of side of the relationship.
Oh, so what? Because you're saying because she's not a wolf, she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
Oh. So what? Wait. So what happens when wolves don't imprint on other?
It's just that according to the internet. It says that when wolves imprint, their attempts at wooing their partners are so strong that the partner tends to, give in. But the partner doesn't have any obligation to give in. But it's just that they try so hard that they tend to.
Okay, this is weird. This is like, is this? I feel like this is Stephanie's attempt at like doing some version of like, fucking the end of Deathly Hallows, where it's like the love, imprints onto Harry and saves his life or something, and that's like powerful. In this one, it's just kind of creepy.
Especially because of what they set up that imprinting means, man. That's fucked.
It's weird. Okay.
But why couldn't he just imprint on Bella then? Like, that's what the fuck, man? Come on. Nah.
Yeah, he loves this kid more than Bella.
No, he doesn't, but you're like, oh, does he? Oh, dude.
He must. He imprinted on it. I don't know. It's pretty huge, man. And another way to look at this is like Jacob couldn't get Bella, so his sloppy seconds are her daughter.
No, don't say that. That's
that's so gross. That's terrible.
I love the there's a Reddit thread and there's like, there are so many issues with this. Renesmee is a freaking newborn and Jacob imprints. This is really gross. Like, as if that has to be fucking stated as a fact, man. Come on.
Yeah. But like, am I meant to take it as just like, oh, it's it's lovely, oh, Jacob, he's found someone, he can make a real connection with someone else. But like, it's a baby.
Yeah, but it's obviously supposed to be like a protective thing,
I know, but like, it's the only so far established. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, the only established imprinting so far has been romantic.
Yeah, and I just saw something mentioning, like, maybe I shouldn't be reading this thread too much, but apparently, like, I mean, it makes sense given that the rate of the growth of it, but like, apparently Renesmee like grows at it, like a kid continues to grow at that rate, so she's going to be like mature before, like, she's actually 18 or whatever. So like, there's like even
oh my god,
there's even worse like kind of things going on later. I mean, I'll stop. I won't read more of that. Just
let's get Renesmee and Jacob get married when she's 8.
Yeah,
get hyped for that.
I'm thinking it's a bit sooner than 8, mate, as well.
Oh, dude. Oh god. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see how this plays out. I'll put it that way. So, like, is there going to be a time jump at some point? There has to be, right? Or maybe is it just going to be end of Hunger Games thing where they just do like the last scene and
a time jump to what? Sorry.
Well, like Renesmee being older. That's what you're saying. Like, what is she going to become, like a child in like 3 months?
I think so, but also I also don't think it's that important for us to see Renesmee with Jacob that the film would jump time for it.
Okay, I feel like I feel like seeing they cast whatever that actress was as a younger. I feel like
true.
You're going to do something with that.
Yeah, but that's why I think she's going to grow up within the next couple fucking hours.
Yeah, that's weird. That's going to be weird in the next one, dude. We'll see. That has the potential to possibly be comically entertaining, or that's what I at least hope it is.
I think this has made the movie better for me because this is so fucking funny.
It's weird. It's so weird. But this is the thing. Like, one of my complaints with the movie was how, like, going in this direction story-wise of it being about Bella getting accidentally pregnant with a vampire. I feel like we've talked about this in the other reviews, and I talked about it in Eclipse, where I sort of was hoping the whole arc of her and the whole overall story of this of her character in the series was going to be sort of related to her choice to become a vampire or not. And it just, like, I don't know why that matters at all. I don't think that matters at all now, right? Because the choice was totally taken away from her, and this movie totally deviated from that being a factor in any capacity. So it's now just like, I don't really know what character arc I'm watching right now, if any. Like, it just kind of, I thought I had a sense of it, and now I've just got no sense of it anymore. And that's kind of what's a shame about it to me, because then, she becomes a vampire at the end of the movie, yay, but like, and I know you could argue that she was already going in that direction anyway. Like, she was already going to make her choice. But now it feels like there's nothing you can do story-wise with, like, playing with, has she made the right decision or not? Because the decision was taken away from her. She's a vampire.
But doesn't that kind of work into the whole thing, like that of like Rosalie's side of like, it's not something great, and like she kind of finally realizes like Rosalie's perspective of having it taken away from her.
Yeah, but I feel like, I would like that. And I hope that, but at the same time, I feel like it's weakened by the fact that Bella we didn't get a scene where Bella consensually becomes a vampire. Like, we didn't see it, like.
But like, that makes her becoming a vampire worse, and like works to like the whole Rosalie story.
Does it? Yeah, I guess. I mean, she becomes friends with Rosalie more in this one, which makes sense.
Yeah, that was good.
Maybe that's.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of that overall. It felt like it just, and then when the whole movie became about that, like, I don't disagree with what Jane said earlier about some of the tension it creates. Like, I think the scene where first of all, I think they did a really good job with like how Kristen Stewart looked as she was pregnant and growing sick and stuff, because she looked terrible in a good way. And then like the scene of the giving birth scene was pretty effective. It was pretty well done. It kind of felt like it was, I don't know, how did you feel about this, Jane? It kind of felt like that scene was leaning towards, I don't know, some like horror elements or taking some inspiration from horror films there, just with how gory it got, and they were going into that first person perspective, and I don't know, it felt different, which I kind of thought was decently tense.
Yeah, they started going American Mary on it.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, I thought it was I like in part of like the strengths of it. Yeah, I think like the little body horror part that we do get with the
body horror, exactly.
section, and
exactly what I mean. Yeah,
it's a bit Prometheus, when Numi Rapaz has to get the baby taken out of it,
Oh my god.
And she has like a similar like sickly look, and there's blood and everywhere.
Yeah. Exactly. It felt like a PG-13 version of that, but like in a. But I don't mean that as an insult. Like I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah.
For what they were going for. So like there are strengths to be taken from it, but yeah, overall, I don't know. It wasn't really the story I was looking for, I guess.
I think this just her sickness. It brings up like an interesting thing with like vampires consuming blood, and when like she's drinking from like the the IV bags or whatever. Like, why don't they all just do that? Because they're not killing anyone by drinking from IVs,
Is there a limited Are they a limited resource?
I mean, it's only as much as people can give, but like Carlisle works at a hospital, he can just nick a few every now and then.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Unless maybe, in drinking it, they won't be able to control it when they're walking around, maybe. But like,
Don't you have to read the book to find the answers to this?
Guess so, yeah.
Yeah, no, those are good questions though. Fitzy, can you in any way explain to me what you thought when they show Renesmee for the first time? What was that? Like, was that CG? Was that a doll? It looked like the weirdest looking baby. It really was.
It was perfect for the scene, though. Like the worst CG that you could imagine on this like imprinting scene. It was just like a perfect collaboration of technology and story. But yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. That was like the worst. That was probably like the worst CGI like moment in the film. But like,
yeah,
like earlier on, I feel like there were a few bad like backdrops. But like, yeah, in terms of like a character's face, that was terrible.
It really was. I really want to know how they did it because it kind of looked like a doll that they maybe CG'd over or something, maybe. Or it definitely was. I'll tell you one thing for sure: it was not just a baby. It was they did not just have a baby on that set. I can guarantee you that there was something going on there.
Yeah.
But it was whack for sure. I feel like we've kind of honestly covered a lot of the meat of the story already, because then you've sort of just got the opening 45 minutes-ish where you got bloody wedding/honeymoon scenes in which not much really happens, but I guess fans of this franchise were like hyped to see this shit happen, I guess.
I always like the slice of life stuff in like the young adult like kind of stuff. Like I always appreciate the kind of more mundane things that take like aside from the main story. I like in Harry Potter when they're just doing schoolwork and they're learning charms and shit. I like in Divergent when they're at the farms and she's learning about how the factions work a bit more. I like in Hunger Games, when she's just in the district or whatever, and in I'm Number 4 when they're just fucking dicking around at school. I like the like that's why I like. Yeah, I think you said that you didn't really enjoy the wedding stuff because it was just a bit nothing. But like, I've always enjoyed the normal stuff in young adult novels.
So you enjoyed this stuff? Because I would just argue that compared to those, this just I don't know, this didn't have any world building or anything. It was just fucking. It just was. Yeah, it just felt very one note. It just was what it was. It didn't really give me any insight into anything.
Sure. Like maybe you could say it went a bit long, but given that it's a part 1 and they needed to fill the time, I think it was fine. Like had this been all in one, I think the honeymoon and wedding would have been contained in 20 minutes. Odd. But like I don't mind that they've kind of spread it out. I like seeing all the awkward speeches at the wedding. I thought that was funny, and
no, that was funny.
And funny. Like some of the honeymoon stuff was quite nice. Like just relationship wise, and then also just like with the caretakers, and then even just some of it was shot quite nicely as well, I think. But yeah, I quite liked all that.
It had its moments for sure. The speeches were quality; they were fun. Dude, why is Anna Kendrick not in this movie more, please? Because like her one line where she's just assumed Bella was pregnant was pretty funny.
Yeah,
that made me laugh. But yeah, outside of that, I didn't. Yeah, it was all just sort of there for me. But how do you feel, Fitzy?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like, definitely had its moments, but it was like very protracted. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't even like call it like a slice of life thing because it's like a grand wedding. So I couldn't even like really enjoy it from that perspective, I guess.
Sure.
But yeah, I think it was like, I don't know, when you get to the actual wedding, it was alright. But I think before it was a little like, let's just get it over with, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't like the caveat that they added to Edward in that, like, when he's experimenting with like killing people, that it's like, oh no, but he only killed good people, so he's still a good guy. I think it would have been more interesting for a character for him to be like actually just killing randoms, you know?
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah, it was a very safe and boring way to go about it.
Yeah.
Did you guys think he was going to kill that woman for sure?
Yeah, I mean, because that's what vampires do. They're young flesh, you know, tender flesh.
Yeah, but instead they played it like he was Batman. Like he was like waiting. He was like waiting for this.
Batman.
For real, but like he was like waiting for like the, you know, he saw the woman going out, and I thought I was going for the woman, but then it was like, oh no, he was waiting for the woman, so then he could get the pedophile who was going to store. No, not pedophile, it's the wrong word.
The guy that's a bit rude.
Yeah. I thought he was going for the man, but I didn't think the man would be like a killer or something like that. I just thought, I don't know, maybe he had like a rule, no women or some shit. But I agree that it was kind of a cowardly way to take the story for him to kind of be the good guy in his past, even though he like feels guilty about it or whatever.
Yeah. He's a bit too goody two shoes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's feeling guilty for not killing Hitler. That's what it is.
Dude, he could have.
With that speed, that strength. I mean,
any vampire could have.
What stopped them?
Yeah. Dude, that's crazy.
The Volturi must have been Nazi sympathizers, if that's the only explanation.
It's got to be, actually. Yeah. He was protected by him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon.
Yeah.
I reckon. Oh God, I've got the trivia about the sex scene. Should I read that or not? Yeah or no?
Yeah. What trivia could you have?
The sex scene between Edward and Bella originally caused the film to receive an R rating. The scene had to be reshot and re-edited to receive a PG-13 rating. According to interviews, Robert Pattinson and director Bill Condon blamed Kristen Stewart's wild thrusting during filming.
Now you know where 50 Shades comes from, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like a fan fiction of this, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So 50 Shades is a fan fiction, but like, does it have like a Jacob equivalent, or is it only about Edward Bella kind of focus?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't actually seen them.
Well, we're doing that next, so strap in.
Yeah.
So, strap in. Yeah.
Strap on.
Sorry, knew where that was going. Kristen Stewart said Taylor Lautner was in tears when the cast watched an unfinished cut.
He saw his career fucking disappearing.
It's like, okay, you can read into that in multiple ways, I guess. Oh, man. Sofia Coppola was in talks to direct this film. She said, we had one meeting and it never went anywhere. I thought the whole imprinting werewolf thing was weird. The baby was too weird as well. But part of the earlier Twilight could be done in an interesting way. I thought it would be fun to do a teen vampire romance. But the last one gets really far out.
That's a top tier trivia right there.
I thought so too. She's not wrong about the imprinting, as proven by this discussion, for sure. I don't know, anything about the soundtrack this time? I feel like that's been a recurring theme.
Do they reuse that song where like they finally kiss when they get married? Isn't that like a song that's just used in like the other films? Yeah.
Yeah, I read only no, because I read it in the trivia as well. But it's the song when they dance at the end of the first one.
Oh yeah.
Good observation. Yeah. I can get to Andy's review for Breaking Dawn Part 1. He said, to my surprise, the first 40 minutes from the wedding to the honeymoon were genuinely the most watchable things I've seen in this series, even with the usual cheesy vibe still implemented, but less obvious than previously. But when they try to complicate all this shit with the dramatic abortion stuff, that's when I was reminded how boring and terrible it was, much like the rest of the series. Wedding and honeymoon moments were supposed to be the most lethargic part of the entire film, but I found myself uplifted by that, as opposed to slumping my seat for the rest of the movie that tries to make an awful bloody horror thriller. Also, any individual scenes with the wolf tribe were cringy as always. Not even the weird scene where all the actual wolves talk to each other with horrible audio editing. could cheer me up. Well, we can agree on that. Bella said she was Switzerland, and now she gets to go to Switzerland. Just get part 2 done over with next. 3 out of 10. I feel like Andy was basically opposite of us, except the last few things he threw in there. Like, oh yeah, no, we agree with that. Thank you, Andy. Okay, let's get to our final verdicts for Breaking Dawn Part 1. Fitzy.
I'll slap a 4 on it. Still some enjoyable moments. Obviously an old-timer scene with the imprinting, with the baby of the Renesmee. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty checked out at this point. Hopefully, we get some cool Volturi shit in the last film. But yeah, 4 out of 10.
Yeah, it's hard for me to disagree. I could honestly do a 5 or a 4. I'll give it a 5 because there were some of those moments we talked about. I did actually laugh out loud, which but I don't know. Sometimes in the Anna Kendrick thing actually made me laugh in a good way. The imprinting scene and the name Renesmee made me laugh in the other way. But something. I was entertained in some little moments there, and I think we talked about a few little positives as well. So I'll give it a 5, but I could go either way. Jaden.
Yeah, I'm on a 5 as well. Actually, I'm surprised that you gave it a 5 too. I was still pretty much, enjoying myself most of the time, despite it. So yeah,
nice. Despite learning about the imprinting.
Yeah, but I think that does make the film so much funnier, doesn't it? He imprinted on a fucking baby, man.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Wait, so you guys knew that they were talking about. Oh, dude, I feel so dumb now. Oh, god damn it.
Oh no,
I mean, why else would they have a montage about growing up? Yeah, it makes sense.
But I always kind of knew that something like this happened, but I just wasn't sure exactly what it was. I knew there was a thing with Jacob imprinting on something, and Jacob and Bella's baby, but I didn't connect the two. I thought that maybe they had a baby or something like that. But I'm glad I finally know what it is, because
that'd be good too. If
Jacob imprinted on Edward.
There's so many interesting directions to take this there. All right, let's get into news chat. Got 3 trailers here to talk about. The one we all saw was The Last of Us Season 2. Jan, you were chomping at the bit to talk about this. I had to calm you down a little bit, but now you're free. Go for it. Oh, god damn it.
No, I don't know. I kind of want to be careful with talking about it because, I can't remember. Did we spoil part 2? When we were talking about part 1,
we had a spoiler section
of talking about part 2.
Yeah, I think we can chat about. Let's not say the obvious thing, but explicitly. But we can talk about our experience and stuff.
I think this trailer looked fantastic. I was saying that as I was watching it to you because I was watching this morning. Just visually, I think they've nailed so many things. Seattle looks fantastic. Jackson looks fantastic. And a lot of the characters honestly look really good. The guy playing Jesse looks pretty spot on, to be honest. Apart from being a little bit too buff. I think Isabella Mercedes as Dana looks good. I think all the characters that we're seeing. I think even Caitlin Dever, who I didn't see as Abby, given just the difference in stature. I think she looks pretty decent as Abby as well in the small glimpse we get.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac Wright looks surprisingly good as
Jeffrey Wright. He
Jeffrey
plays
Wright,
Isaac.
Isaac. Yeah, Jeffrey Wright looks surprisingly good as Isaac. And they really nailed that one. I think that's
awesome.
Yeah,
that's so awesome. So I assume he's now.
I was just taking the piss by that because he obviously plays him in the game, and
yeah. No, exactly. I assume last season the one actor who played the same character that they played in the game was Marlene. So I assume he might be that Marlene. Oh, Marlene. Well, I mean, if they follow part 2, Marlene will come back as well. But, well, I mean, I don't think that's so bad. But anyway, yeah, Jeffrey Wright being there is awesome. What a great thing to get him back and to hopefully expand that role, because that was an underutilized role in the game as well.
Yeah, I was surprised with how much. Not surprised, but I just think it was a rather great trailer. And I still have one glaring issue, but I'll get over it.
Is it Abby?
No.
What is it?
Bella.
Oh, sorry. Wake up. Yeah, sorry. Fitzy, what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. It looked pretty accurate to the game, pretty spot on. So like the opening shot of the town was like, wow, that's just like pulled straight from part 2. So yeah, I'm excited. It feels like it captures like the atmosphere of part 2, which is like slightly more dreadful, I guess, more dread, increased dread. So yeah, it looks sick. I'm excited.
Yeah, it literally, like you guys are saying, it looks fantastic. Shout out to all the production designers, and we even get a glimpse. We get a glimpse at pretty much every shot. Most of the shots in this trailer are recognizable to the game in some way. Like we get a glimpse at the
subway.
That's exactly what I was going to say with the red light, and you can tell. I love how much they obviously studied the game to recreate that cinematically and just nail the vibe of everything. And Jackson, of course, another great example. Yeah. So this season's going to be 7 episodes.
Yeah. I think it's going to be half the game. You're saying you think it's less than half the game. But given that we're getting Isaac stuff and we're getting Seraphite stuff, I think that we're going to get a little bit of later game stuff in this season as well, just to balance it out.
Yeah, I don't know. So Craig's basically said they're going to do 3 seasons of part 2.
Oh, really? I thought it was still part 2. Oh shit. Okay. No, you're right.
So he hasn't exactly said that. He said his phrasing was, let me try and get it right. He said, we're not going to be able to tell. There's so much more story content in part 2. We're not going to be able to tell it in one season. I don't see how we could wrap up part 2 in only one more season. Is how he put it. So he doesn't think 2 seasons is going to be enough.
Well, at that point, is there going to be a part 3 out that he's going to start blending the seasons together?
That's another great question. I don't think so. The show's probably going to be done before part 3's out, and then they'll go back to the show. But there might be a longer delay as a result between seasons. But I don't know. Yeah, it's funny to me personally. I think it'll make more sense when we see it in terms of what pathways they go down. Like they're going to flesh things out. Like Isaac's a perfect example where like he's going to be fleshed out. He's going to come in earlier and do more, and they're probably going to do that in a few different directions. So like by the time where we see the season ends, it might make more sense for us. But I kind of feel like they could do it in 2 seasons, to be honest. And that's the tricky thing. And obviously there's the whole question of, this probably might be a more off-air spoilery conversation, but, Abby being there in that one shot by the grave, by the grave, obviously we know what that is, but it's like, that's not in the game. So it makes me question how they're going to order events with Abby for the medium to change it, possibly. So that I'm curious to see how that could happen as well. But yeah, no, I thought this trailer looked awesome. I'm pumped to see it. And in terms of the question you had about like Bella not looking like 5 years older, Jaden, like I don't think they're going to do the 5-year time jump, personally.
I think that doesn't work as well for the themes of the game, though. Then
how so?
Just in terms of like vengeance kind of taking a hold of you and being consuming and all that stuff. If it's a fresh thing, if it's a fresh vengeance, I think it's less weighty, on Abby.
True. I reckon even if it's 2 years, I don't think they. I mean,
sure,
I could be
wrong. Okay, yeah. As long as there's as long as there's a time jump, I think it's fine. But if you take it as like a fresh, like anything less than a year.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think you need some time to settle in, Jackson.
But I think my other big worry is just that we're going to lose some of the vignettes of young Ellie and Joel in favor of this discussion with what seems like a therapist.
I don't think so. The therapist is a good point. First of all, played by Catherine O'Hara, who is just, I'm sure she'll be great in it, but just stands out as such an interesting choice for The Last of Us because I just can't unsee her as that Schitt's Creek character, which is the goofiest character of all time. But anyway, yeah, it does seem to be a substitute for the opening scene of part 2 with Joel and Tommy talking,
which I think is a mistake. I think that's, I don't know.
Yeah, it's unclear.
I guess we'll have to wait, obviously. But
we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I agree though. It's an interesting choice. and I'm not sure how they're gonna handle that. I don't know. It's interesting. And then how much? Yeah, like yeah. Oh, I was going to say something spoiler. I shouldn't say that.
I just think it's also interesting how little of Seattle we actually saw.
Yeah, but we know that like you know we get the take on me scene.
Yeah, and obviously the subway
so
as well. So like we know there is stuff, but like given how much time you kind of spend there in the game, and given just the way that it seems to be structured in the TV show, I was surprised that we only got kind of a few glimpses.
Yeah, what do you think the furthest glimpse into the game we got was?
Isaac with the Seraphite.
Yeah, and I'm still convinced they can do that earlier. So, yeah, anything with the Seraphites probably. Honestly, I don't even think we got. Yeah, I don't think we got halfway through the game.
Liam, are you a Seraphite sympathizer?
What are they again? What are they?
They're like the cultists. Yeah, the bold ones.
Oh yeah, they sound cool.
The ones who whistle are really scary.
No, I remember them. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I was going to say something else, but anyway, maybe we can go full spoilers after or something. Ballerina. Jaden, you saw this one.
I did see this one. Did you not see this?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say because you told me to fucking watch it.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was surprised with like this trailer looked pretty good. I was kind of expecting it to lose the plot a bit, just moving away from John Wick, but at the same time, I didn't want them to be like overly dependent on it. But it looks to be well within the bounds. I haven't seen the Continental to know like what the kind of how they're exploring the world of John Wick.
I don't know if it'll matter that much to this.
No, yeah, not that it matters, but like rather like how they've been exploring the world already, you know, in terms of expanding it. But yeah, I think Arnold looks great. I think it's exciting to see Lance Reddick again.
Huge shout out to that. That was awesome. I was surprised, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I didn't know he was in this either. Yeah, and I think I think it looks pretty consistent with John Wick's in terms of like just like locations and action wise and kind of everything that's quite already established. I just hope they don't start falling too much onto Keanu in the later half of the movie. You know.
Yeah, I agree. I'd be surprised. I feel like Keanu's got to be in it earlier, and they just structured the trailer this way to have it. Because I agree, like it did the arc of the
talks
trailer,
about becoming him, yeah.
Right. And the arc of but him coming in at the end of the trailer felt like he was taking her thunder.
Yeah.
So as long as the movie, I'll hope it's a trailer thing, and if, I don't want the movie to play that way, because that's how the trailer played. But I get it, like you know, it's John Wick, but yeah, I was impressed by this trailer too. Some of the action looked really creative and awesome, and it looked very much like what you'd want a John Wick spin-off to look like, and not. And my expectations were lower than this.
Yeah.
So
I always thought the poster was quite shit, so I was expecting a great trailer given the poster quality. So
yeah. So yeah, I agree. It definitely exceeded my expectations as well. And we got it. Lance Reddick was great. Norman Reedus turning out was sick.
Oh yeah, that surprised me as well. Sure.
It surprised me for sure. I don't know. Anna seems really great so far. I think like she has a sort of a different vibe to her than she has a John Wick vibe to her, which sounds obvious, but like I don't know. I feel like I haven't really seen that from her. She's kind of, I don't know, she's usually more playful and fun. And like, oh look, everyone loves Anna, right? But she seems to have a bit more, I don't know, like a bit more stoicness, a bit more like it's sort of dangerous vibe going on, which I like. Obviously fits. So yeah, I was impressed. We'll check it out, I'm sure. And the last one was Sinners, which is Ryan Coogler's new film. You watched this one?
Yeah. This looks exceptional. Like genuinely brilliant stuff. It's like I think it's just such an amazing like kind of concept idea. It's not even that advanced. It's just vampires, but you know, in like you know rural America in like I don't know the 40s or 50s, where the fuck it's set.
Oh, okay.
The trailer is just kind of structured incredibly in building tension, and it's just shot well, and the kind of pulsing of the scenes is such a nice thing, and the cast is pretty stacked. I mean, with you know Coogler's obviously his mate with
Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay. It just looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. And for a vampire movie to not feature vampires in the trailer is cool, but then like it's still got a really nice horror element in it. Another fantastic trailer, and it's like made me incredibly excited for a movie that I didn't even know about, last week.
Yeah, same. I didn't see the trailer, but like I didn't know it was about vampires at all. Like, is that does the trailer? Are you saying the trailer doesn't make that clear, or?
I can't remember if they mention it, but you don't see vampires, and you don't get the essence that like not the essence, like you feel a threat. You feel a threat in the air, and like obviously that's his job to go around killing vampires. I think that's made clear, but you don't see them, and you don't. There's no focus on killing vampires in the trailer, type of thing.
Okay.
It's just an interesting way to structure it, given that it apparently is a vampire movie.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I had no idea. I just read the synopsis and it was like two brothers have returned to their hometown or something. I was like, I don't know, it sounds like a drama. So that's really interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
I watched the Cranes Are Flying, which is this Soviet film from the 50s, black and white.
Oh my god!
Yeah, it's really fantastic. It's like this this romance war film. Two lovers get separated. So like the story is quite. I guess it's nothing you haven't seen before, but like what really elevates the film is there are other things that are great about the film, but like the cinematography is like the main thing. Like I saw the trailer a week ago, and it was like, I was just shocked by like how, like it's just kind of shocking how they achieved this level of kind of perfection in the lighting and the composition, and there are like these one track shots as well, which are like, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's befuddling how they achieved it, but
ahead of its time.
Yeah, for sure. It feels like much more modern than it is, I guess, which is something someone said at the screen. But yeah, it's just look at the trailer and you'll see what I mean, because it looks fantastic. It looks like it was like, Alfonso fucking Cuarón did it or something. But the film is really spectacular by itself. Like you really it's really easy to get invested in the emotions. You don't feel distant from it, even though there are plenty of kind of barriers that could make you feel distant. So yeah, it's really good.
What's it about?
Well, there are these two lovers, and one volunteers to go to war, and so most of the film is centered on the woman's perspective, because basically there's this the guy's cousin is like kind of coming on to her when he's away, and so it's mainly about her like desperation and kind of angst, and then you get brief glimpses of the guy's kind of perspective when he's off in the war, defending against the Germans in like World War II, I think. So yeah, it's about all that, I guess. Yeah, it's really short as well, so it's like,
oh, nice.
You should definitely check it out. It wasn't something that was like on my radar, but it should be on more people's radars, because it's a great film.
Nice. It sounds like, so you got black and white, but then you got short, so they like maybe cancel each other out.
Yeah. I'm just trying to appeal to you. Hey, you don't have to mention that.
No. Oh. Yeah, but like it doesn't feel old apparently.
Yeah, but it's got one shots. Yeah, it's got like one track, one take shots.
It's got one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. I think we're even. Nice. Have you guys heard about this new Netflix show called The Perfect Couple?
The Nicole Kidman one?
Yes.
Heard about it. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so I watched this, and it's Nicole Kidman and Liev Schreiber and a few other people. Dakota Fanning is there, and probably a few other faces people would recognize. This show is weird. It's 6 episodes. It's based on a book. It's basically a murder mystery scenario. about there's this wedding and then one of them dies at the wedding, and it's like and this super rich family in the Hamptons, and this whole show is just a weird vibe, man. Right from the intro, the intro to this show. So they try and set up this sort of dramatic murder mystery plot, and then the intro to the show is like all of the cast doing this like dance. And it reminded me, the closest thing I can compare it to is Peacemaker, but it's not like Peacemaker because Peacemaker felt totally ironic, and I'm not sure how ironic this thing is. So it's in this weird space where I'm not 100% sure exactly how self-aware it is, the whole show, because there's some really goofy and silly performances and fun, stupid stuff. Basically my summary is that it's not great television, but I was entertained and engaged enough throughout. Has a couple of decently strong scenes, and then also just plenty of scenes that are just like entertaining and funny and weird.
Is it meant to be a comedy?
No, I would not. Yeah, that's the thing about it. I can't quite. There is definitely some level of self-awareness. Like it's not straight, and I'm not laughing at it all the time. I'm definitely laughing with it a decent amount of the time, but somewhere in the middle, there's a percentage of how much I'm laughing with it and how much I'm laughing at it, and I'm not quite sure what the percentage is. So it's this weird. It kind of needs to be seen. I'd be interested to talk to someone else who's seen it. It's interesting, in that sense. But like, it does actually, it delivers at the very least on like what you want from a murder mystery, where it has some plot and some things that happen that are oh well, didn't you see that coming? And like it doesn't fall flat in that department either. So that helps. Yeah, it's funny. The opening dance, dude, is just absolutely hilarious. I heard somewhere that like apparently like some of the key cast members like thought it was terrible and didn't want to do it because it's like a coordinated dance with them all, and like. And I'm there from when I heard that. I was watching the intro, trying to pick out who hates doing this, and you can't really pick it. You can't. I thought maybe Liev Schreiber would hate it because like he doesn't look like he'd do it. But on camera he looks like he was loving it. So fucked if I know. But anyway,
they're actors.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I feel Nicole Kidman would be into it. I feel like she'd be on board. I could be wrong about that as well, but she plays like a Lisa Vanderpump, right, Jaden?
Yep.
I am 100%
used to be
convinced.
A big watcher of Vanderpump Rules.
Of course. I am 100% convinced. I haven't heard this anywhere at all. This is just completely my own takeaway from watching the show. I'm 100% convinced that Lisa Vanderpump was Nicole Kidman's reference for her performance, because she basically plays Lisa Vanderpump. She has a British accent, super rich, Real Housewives kind of style stuff with her character. And like, but she ends up being like a decent character, like Lisa everyone likes Lisa Vanderpump. You know what I mean? So, sure. Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, it was an entertaining show that I probably rated higher than most, just because of how bizarre and entertaining I was at certain points. I'll put it that way. So I did enjoy it.
Cool.
Yeah, Jaden, what have you been watching?
I've been rewatching a lot of stuff this week. I think I was looking at all rewatches. I rewatched the Fantastic Beasts series.
God bless you, sir.
My main takeaway is that they're a lot better than I remembered, or at least a lot more enjoyable than I initially thought. I'd only seen each of them the one time. Did we go see Crimes of Grindelwald in the theater? That was one thing I was trying to think. I know we did.
I didn't.
We did Fantastic Beasts in the theater.
Yes,
and we did Secrets of Dumbledore in the theater.
Yes,
but I can't remember if we did Crimes of Grindelwald.
I did not do Crimes. I watched that at home.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that one. But yeah, I think like I think one of the most fun parts about it is that like is getting to see like adults doing magic and like advanced magic users, and you get to see some. You actually like I didn't realize that you actually get to see some really cool magic that's just beyond, Stupefy and Expelliarmus and all that.
Sure.
Because obviously even the adults in the first one they're limited by what they were doing at the time. So when you've had time to grow the world and you know what you want to do. There's some like really cool magic shit that I just wasn't, kind of remembering or aware of. And I think like I always thought that they didn't really make sense, or that the story wasn't there. And like it's not a fantastic story, and it's really thin in most of them. Well, in all of them. But like it's actually it's not as confusing, or it's not as hard to track as I thought. If I actually watch it, I'm like, oh, that does make sense. I don't think it makes great sense, and I think J.K. Rowling should stay away from script writing forever. But it's not, not as bad as I thought. It was actually had quite a good time with some of them. Yeah.
Looking back, how did you feel watching it like as a trilogy? Because I just remember feeling like, because it was obviously meant to be more.
Yeah,
and I remember feeling like
in Secrets of Dumbledore. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, like how did that play watching them together?
It helped a lot, I think, in following it. Because I think my biggest thing with Secrets of Dumbledore was that it was so far apart from Crimes of Grindelwald, and that obviously I had no recollection of Grindelwald when I was watching it, of like when I was watching Dumbledore the first time. So like the movie felt like it was coming completely out of nowhere almost. So being able to actually like look at the story and be like, oh, this is what it's telling. I was like, oh, it makes sense. I'm kind of sad that they didn't get to wrap it up, because obviously at the end of this one, Grindelwald still has the Elder Wand, and I'm still curious as to how Dumbledore got it. But at the same time, like Eddie Redmayne is now like 40, and like he doesn't really want to be doing Harry Potter anymore. I assume he doesn't really want to be playing this character anymore, I guess.
I don't want to be seeing this character anymore.
Yeah. Actually, I was surprised by how well it worked together, I think. Because like even though it still has room at the end to go on, it wraps up rather nicely as a trilogy.
Yeah. I remember being surprised, thinking there was more at the time. I remember being surprised, like, of how much of an ending it felt like.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they changed that because they knew they weren't going to make more, or I don't know.
Well, I feel like they would have had to have, like, surely, because the plan was initially 5.
Yeah,
and I feel like they still, I think they still left room for more in case it was a shock box office hit. But like, I think they were pretty sure that it was going to be the end of it.
Yeah. See, this is going back to our conversation a couple weeks ago about the Harry Potter show, Jaden, and you being a fan of it because of time well spent in the universe.
Yeah,
and I totally respect that, but I also can't help but think like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a huge Fantastic Beasts fan, but at the same time, like, how would you rather them attempt more of these? Like, I'm not talking about Fantastic Beasts specifically. Would you rather them attempt more spin-offs, different shows, different spots in the timeline, whatever they want to do, throw different stuff at the wall and experiment, or just fucking remake the books again? Like,
it's honestly tough. I honestly don't know, because I was thinking about this as well. I was like, because I'm like, how much enjoyment can I get out of? Because I do like Hogwarts. I love in Fantastic Beasts when they go back to Hogwarts and you get these little glimpses of it. So I do want to spend time there, but I'm like, how interesting will it be with another group of kids that don't have the same threat, Because obviously Hogwarts can only play half of, not half, but has to play a part. But then there's always the other half of the villain, and I'm like, how are you going to create another dark wizard that's going to feel as much of a threat, or if different in some way? I think I do want to see them do a I think I'd rather the remake of the books into a TV show at the moment.
Really? Okay.
Because I want to spend the time in. I was talking about slice of life stuff. I want to see. I want to see them learning charms. I want to see them learning magic history and all that shit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Would you not? So, like, I mean, Hogwarts Legacy is an interesting case study. I guess.
I want to play that and see how that feels. I think is probably going to be the next thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what you think of that. And then it's like, I don't know. Like, I almost just like, why can't we go to another school?
I don't think the other school. I don't really care for like what you want to go to.
But like, it's because we haven't really been shown them. Like,
you want to go to the American one. You want these kids in Yankee accents to be learning fucking spells, man.
Maybe not the American one. I don't know. Yeah. No, it's a fair point. I am still of the mind though that I'll take anything new over retreading.
The other thing is, I don't want them in the TV show to be set in the modern day. I want it to still be in the 90s. Like, if Harry Potter is a fucking 2000s kid, 2010s kid.
Yes, dude. Yes,
come on. It would be so weird
He's in his cupboard on Snapchat. Let's go.
Yeah, like he's using a mobile phone in the real world, and then he has to go and in the magic world, they use owls and shit. And, it's like,
dude, what are the chances they do that? Because I think it's like appealing to the modern audience.
It'd be so weird. Yeah, I don't disagree that. Like, I think like other things would be cool, but at the same time, I'm like,
I think this world and this franchise has so much unrealized potential. And I just feel like remaking stuff that already is such a waste of it.
Yeah. I just feel like Hogwarts is hard territory because of...
Yeah, no, you raise a good point.
Because of what's... Obviously, like, I don't want to go into the future. So we've got the 90s, early 2000s. And then we've also got the 40s covered. But it's like, if we cover, like, the middle period of the 60s, 70s, then you still got the same teachers because we're showing them in this Fantastic Beasts series because they all just get younger. And you're like, well, what's the threat? There's nothing really interesting there. So do you go back even further, but then you're Hogwarts Legacy territory? So I'm like, it does make sense to move away, but at the same time, Harry Potter's British, I don't really want to watch without the British element,
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of shocked that they haven't done a Cursed Child movie. I feel like...
Because Cursed Child's so ass, man.
But like, I mean,
I need to see the play. Like, first off, I need to see the play. But like, having just read the script, it is such a fucking dumb story, man.
I don't entirely disagree, but but I don't know. Like, isn't that a more logical decision than remaking? Like, you got something, and people like it. It's not like, I understand that
people like it.
Absolutely. Anyone who's seen that play loves it, 100%.
Oh yeah, I feel like, to be fair, I haven't really spoken about the play to too much people, but like when I remember back in year 12, I was speaking about it with some kids and seeing it and the teachers and stuff like that, and all they had to say was, "Oh yeah, the spell effects are so cool and how they do that's really impressive." Like they didn't say anything about the story being good. They just like the play element of it. They don't actually like the story of it.
Yeah,
to adapt it to a film.
Yeah, that is a good point. But I also don't know. Like, for me, is it a case of, like, when I saw it, it's like I'd already read the book, so it's like, well, I didn't really have anything to say about the story because I've known the story for 2 years or whatever.
I just think there's so many dumb decisions as well made in Cursed Child, just beyond like the main story, just regarding like character wise, like it's just so fucking dumb, man.
I feel like if they made that movie, people would still really like it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it'd be the best Harry Potter movie. I'm not saying I necessarily want it, but I just feel like
they make it, but they dramatically change it. Like dramatically change it. Like keep the core story in some way, but all the character work with like the original trio needs to go. Like that needs to be completely replaced.
Probably, yeah, it's interesting. My only point there is that I feel like if I'm sitting in that goddamn Warner Brothers Discovery boardroom, you do that before you do a TV show remake.
Yeah. Well, also given just what we're talking about with how hard it is to make a TV show within 1 year these days, apparently.
Yeah, dude, it's going to take 3 years for them to make a season of this. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so it's going to be 24 years for it to be all finished.
Probably. Yep. Anyway, get excited for that. Is that topic going to come up every 2 weeks now?
Probably. Yeah, probably every time.
Apologies in advance.
Yeah.
Now it's time where we get to the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is the best Part 1 movie? Leanne said, which by the way, this is like serendipitous because Fitzy and I were just talking about this the other week, but Superman 1978 was a fantastic Part 1 movie starring Christopher Reeve, Margot Kidder, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman and others. It broke the mold in so many ways. It was also the most expensive movie ever made at the time. The visual effects and product placement were also highly memorable. Superman 2 1980 was quite good, but could not surpass the first film. By the time Superman 3 in 1983, they lost the plot. It has all been a downhill ride since then. I feel like, and then that's just funny because Fitzy and I were defenders of Superman 3 and 4 a few weeks ago when we were talking about this.
Superman 4 was on TV last night. It was,
oh my god!
I was watching on mute. I'm watching Twilight.
Oh, yeah, which one was more compelling? Nuclear
Superman
Man?
4 because of Marielle Hemingworth, and Nuclear Man. Yeah,
Nuclear Man, of course. Never forget. That's funny, man.
anyway.
Andy Lau said, oh, hang on a show. Yeah, no, that's fine. Andy Lau said, well, I can't determine what's the best, but my favorite Part 1 movie is Chinese Odyssey Part 1, Pandora's Box. Friend of the show, Stephen Chow, stars in this film, introduced as Sun Wukong. Jaden will know this legend. Jaden, do you know this legend?
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong, man.
Oh, right. I don't play that cringe game anyway. But quickly, he plays a human called the Joker. I assume not that one. Who exists in the world 500 years later, only to find out he is the reincarnation of Sun Wukong. Wait, so is Sun Wukong the monkey?
Yeah.
Gotcha. It probably has the best cliffhanger I've ever encountered because it probably has the most iconic character introduced in Zijia, the prettiest fairy I've ever seen, who I will hear will be the most vital part of Part 2. Oh, wait, so this film's new? Like, Part 2 isn't even out yet?
No, I just think Andy hasn't watched it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it probably came out 20 years ago. The film makes no sense half the time because it's really silly, but it's so freaking entertaining as a cheesy fantasy adventure flick with a bit of random time traveling, and also has Steven's slapstick touches that is still recognizable as ever. I give responses to my Hong Kong films here and there, but I try not to recommend them at the same time. However, it's only 87 minutes and it's on Netflix, so I would assume recommending just watching it and just let your brain amuse itself. For some reason, I did not watch this back to back with Part 2, Cinderella. These got the weirdest names, dude. Which also was released in the same year. Thanks to this question, I'm going to try and see it soon, hopefully. Back in the day, when they felt like they had to cut a movie into 2 parts when they're only 87 minutes long each. You know, the good old days. Dr. Luke said, Avengers Infinity War. It was a phenomenal cinema experience and the anticipation for Part 2 was intense. So much led to this Part 1. The fact that the movie was so successful balancing all the characters is incredible. I totally agree with that. Can't wait for Avengers Doomsday when Batman, Goku, and Sonic step through a ring portal and say, I am Steve and it's Morbin time. That's like only slightly far-fetched for what those movies are going to do, but thank you, Luke. I don't think the legend of that Infinity War screening is that you were there, Fitzy, and Paul wasn't a fan. Is that the same? That's the same event, right?
Oh yeah. Afterwards, I think in the car, he expressed his dislike of the film. Yeah.
I'm glad that it didn't hinder Luke's quote phenomenal cinema experience. So that's nice. That's good. Okay. Favorite Part 1 movies. It's actually quite a lot, as Jade and I brainstormed last week. But yes, Fitzy, what do you reckon? I reckon I'm between 2 on you, but yeah, go for it.
Between 2. Although, does Nymphomaniac Volume 1, is a Volume 1 a Part 1?
Yeah.
Like, surely.
Because we're talking about it, how it works, and it's about, like, when adapting the material and splitting it up, or whether would like filming it all in one and then splitting it up. So Nymphomaniac covers the second category because it was filmed all in one go and then it was split up.
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, yeah, okay. To not be boring and say Harry Potter, I guess I'll say Nymphomaniac Volume 1, which is a fantastic film. Yeah. I don't know. It's very interesting. So Lars von Trier is he's a
quirky guy.
He's a quirky guy. Yeah, for sure. It's just a very interesting exploration of the subject matter, and very kind of experimental and fun. So yeah, check it out. Yeah. Although Volume 2 does go downhill a little bit. But yeah, number 1, Volume 1's a fun time, good time.
Wait, so you like this better than? So my 2, I thought for sure. I mean, one's half joking, but Dune and Rebel Moon. Oh, it's better than Dune?
I'd probably rewatch this before. I've probably seen Dune enough times, you know.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to be boring in my answer, so that was
yeah. No, I respect that.
Yeah,
I respect that. I mean, Deathly Hallows Part 1 is like the best, right? And I assume it's one of your 3, unless it was the number 3 that we took out, Jaden.
No, it's number 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This movie, do we think it's still underappreciated?
Yeah, because I also rewatched that this week because I was finishing my Harry Potter rewatch. And
yeah.
I just don't see how people put it anywhere below the top 3 on their list, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't. It's not got a bad rap at all, but I just feel like it needs a better rap. I'll tell you that.
I feel like we're like the strongest defenders, as we've said before. Us 3.
Oh yeah. Defenders is even wrong. Like we're like the advocates for this movie. I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it deserves it.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all unified on that. But Jane, you got to. Yeah. What are your other ones?
Well, yeah. So Harry Potter was Deathly Hallows was my one, and then Nymphomaniac was also my one. Was going to be my shout out. Liam's 100% correct. It is better than Dune as well. I'll say that unashamedly. Okay. Whether if he's a bit ambivalent on it, I'll say it. I'll say it outright. My other one is Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, you cheeky bastard! I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, because originally it was meant to be Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, right?
Yes. So you're classifying it on its original title.
Yeah, because it was meant to be consumed as as a Part 1 of Part 2 story. Obviously you can't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know it's a bit harder given the format and in terms of like time spent producing it, and then also like by definition, but like I think it more appropriately fits the first quarter of like being Part 1 of the story.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, everything I said in mine and Liam's review for that one, it just being phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Liam strongly agreeing. He thought it was his favorite film of the year. Yeah. I that one came up for me, and I'm like, oh, let's see if anyone tries to scrape that one in there, and you did. So nice one. Oh yeah, no. So Deathly Hallows Part 1 is my favorite, but like huge shout out to Fellowship of the Ring's right there as well. I love Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah. And I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings guy either. Like I'm not ride or die either. Fellowship of the Ring, in my opinion, is definitely the best Lord of the Rings movie or Hobbit movie or whatever. Any of those things. It's definitely the best one, in my opinion. It's just got the most interesting stuff going on. Like, don't get me wrong, the other two are great. They got cool battles. It's really well made stuff. But I don't know, it's a lot of battles. A lot of riding horses and shit. And like, I love that shit sometimes. But Fellowship of the Ring is just like, feels like it's got the most story. It's got the most character development overall. Like you get to see the fruition of that in the later ones, of course. I don't know. It's got the most dramatic moments with Gandalf. He falls and Sean Bean turns on them, and there's a lot going on in that movie that's actually quite compelling. So, I don't know. I just like the whole intro to the world and the Shire and everything. It's just definitely my favorite place to be in Lord of the Rings for sure.
There was a poll running on Reddit the past couple of weeks of the best picture winner of the past 24 years or whatever. Yeah. Where they're eliminating one per day or whatever, based on votes, and Return of the King somehow won best picture of the last 24 years.
Really?
Yep. So that just goes to show you that you can't trust Reddit people.
No, definitely not.
No. And I think I agree. Second. I don't know. I just remember being shocked at like some of the things that went out early and some of the things that made it so far. It was just dumb, man. Some of these people.
What did Spotlight make it second?
Spotlight went out, I think 15-ish or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Everything Everywhere stayed in way too long.
Oh, of course.
Gladiator. I think Gladiator was maybe 2 or 3, but Gladiator stayed in like way too long. I mean, actually, I haven't seen that, so I can't really comment on that. But given that
but you're correct.
About it, yeah. And given that it's a Ridley Scott film,
oh my god,
Shape of Water went out really early, which I don't know how to feel about.
That's people are dumb. We all know this, of course, but sometimes it's a good reminder. I will just say this actually, just because I'm just curious if you thought about it at all in coming up with ones. Dead Man's Chest would count.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw that on the list, but I wasn't sure if it does count. So I didn't.
It definitely does, right?
Does it? Because I wasn't sure.
They were shot back to back, and it's like like if you wanted to counter, yeah. So Dead Man's Chest and At World's End were shot back to back.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is. So it's like a Reloaded Revolutions situation. But of course, no one's going to say Reloaded because that movie's not very good.
No.
Is anyone going to try and count the Batman now because the Batman Part 2 is called Part 2?
I did see that on the list, but I didn't even think of trying to like. I don't think it does. You know, it's like Godfather Part 2 type territory.
Definitely, it's the same. Yeah, 100%. Or The Last of Us Part 1. I already said that. I said that to you already. Yeah. I'm restilling my own material now. Okay. As always, we'd love you to submit your responses, thoughts, and or reviews for next week's film in the YouTube or Instagram comment section, or join the Discord server this week. The specific question of the week we'll be asking you is... Now, is this offensive? We worded it as, what is the least useful inside-out emotion? But they're characters, so shouldn't it be who is the least useful inside-out emotion?
You're worried about offending the fucking $1 billion Pixar film characters.
Well, they have feelings too, literally, because they are feelings.
Oh yeah, is it like a? I'm sure this has been said before, and it might have even like do the emotions have emotions in them, or are they just like pure?
Yeah, joy feels sadness. Yeah, you mean like within like they have their own
like controlling little people. Because joy does feel sadness. So does joy have a sadness inside of her?
And then it just goes on forever.
You look into the infinite mirror.
Yeah. I guess so.
That's good. Maybe that's what I don't know. Maybe that's what this film gets into. Maybe it's what the third one. But you know how usually at Pixar they always say, or at least publicly they always say, like, you know, we cracked the story. You know, we're doing a sequel now because we know the story we want to tell. Do you reckon in like 10 years that's what Inside Out 3 is going to be? Like, we know the story we're going to tell because we realize that the emotions have emotions. Well, and everyone's like, that's a genius. That's amazing.
At which sequel do the emotions start coming out of Riley's head and they start having like IRL conversations with her?
God. Hopefully, yeah, that's the big epiphany for the sixth one, probably.
Man. But like for the question, just for the audience, like look up the the cast just to see the extra emotions because they had a few emotions in.
The thing is, we know what Luke's going to say because he's dumb.
I don't, but do you want to say this on the air or not?
Well, because he doesn't like Ao, he's going to just say the emotion that Ao plays.
Is Ao in this movie?
Yeah, she plays anxiety. No not anxiety. What is it? Nervous. The little blue
card. Envy.
Envy. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Now I'm extra excited. Yeah. Now I'm extra excited to watch this. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Anyway, what are we doing next week, Fitzy?
We're doing the highest grossing animated film of all time, Inside Out 2. Yeah. Which is a very interesting fact I learned last week and was pretty shocked by, but it's not really surprising. So, yeah.
Check it out. It's on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, dropped.
It did. All right. Very good. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate Liam and Jaden for joining me. I can't really say as always. I appreciate Jaden for joining me as always. I appreciate Liam for joining me most of the time. And have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.